Last week, we talked about driving performance to the work cell. In this week's podcast, we're going to talk about generating ideas, creating the foundation for that performance at the work cell. This is Leadership Unscripted. My name is Landry, and I've been an operations manager for 20 years. So just some of the things that we discussed. First of all, if you've ever dealt with generating ideas, drop some comments and tell us how you generate ideas in your manufacturing operation. And then perhaps others will get some ideas from that as well. So I want to first go over some of the top ways that I would generate ideas. And I have generated ideas in the past at different companies. And then also sort of put it all together and how I would do that if I were starting from scratch. One of the first ways is getting your team together. So if you're a operations manufacturing manager and you've got a number of teams, different departments, you got supervisors or managers or leaders of different departments, working with each department individually. So, starting with the first department, get them in the room. Perhaps there's 10, 15 people, get them into a meeting room and sort of go over what are the burning platform issues, what are the big issues that you're facing right now, and just go through, write them down on a whiteboard or piece of paper, and just ask people for ideas of what they could do to try to fix those issues. And that's just simple brainstorming. And then from that, what you could do is you could have everybody vote. Perhaps they each get 3 votes. So then they go through and vote on the top 3 that they would like to work on. And then you can prioritize those, the things that are easy to do, low-hanging fruit, and the more difficult ones, because obviously some of the easy things we're going to get done, but they might not have a big financial impact. And then you'd have those larger projects that might take a little longer time and more investment, and you may not even get the money for them. So to be able to actually implement. So therefore, you want to have a little bit of both. The second way I would generate ideas is walk the shop floor or walk your organization and go up to somebody at a piece of equipment or assembly desk, wherever they are, or in the quality lab, somebody driving a tow motor, and ask them, what is the most frustrating thing that they deal with, perhaps today or whenever. Just ask them what that is. What are the frustrating things? What are the things that really annoy them? Because typically those things are things that are causing wait time quite often, or things that where there's lack of communication. Perhaps there's documentation that's not clear, and therefore they spend a lot of time trying to do those things, or they can't find tools or equipment, or something slows them down because they have to wait for it. So when you find those things directly from them, you can write down those ideas as potential ideas to look at in the future. So that's walking the shop floor. Another thing is an idea box. Again, the things I'm talking about, some might say, okay, we know about these, but some people might not. And that's why I want to just go through a bunch of different methods that actually do generate ideas. So an idea box, suggestion box, and have it prominent. Make sure that everybody knows where that suggestion box actually is, and have cards, where they can write their name, date, the type of issue, if it's a quality, efficiency, labor improvement, safety, cost, consumable type savings, reducing cost on something. So having that, and then having the ability that they can actually put those into the box, and then perhaps once a month you do a draw. It doesn't matter what the ideas are. You've got, let's say, 25 ideas in that box. Every month you draw one idea, and you give that person a $25, $50 gift card. So that's sort of incentivizing people to put in numerous ideas. The more ideas they put in, the more likely they have a chance to win that gift card. It doesn't matter what their idea is. It's the first step about generating ideas, and that's strictly what this is about. This This video is about generating ideas. Nothing more, nothing less. The fourth thing is a digital entry system. So either Excel, or if you've got a development team, you can have an online entry place where they can actually submit their ideas, and then you can keep them in a database and start going through them in one spot. So a simple digital entry system, whether that's even people just sending emails into a specific email box. The fifth one, so if you have, let's say, injuries or near miss reports, or you have, let's just stick with safety. So if you have injuries or near miss type reports that already happen within your company, using those investigations to generate ideas. So let's say someone cuts themselves. Go out there, do the investigation with the Joint Health Safety Committee or the certified safety representative of your company. Get a couple of other employees part of it, and not just focus on the initial root cause of that safety injury or near miss, but try to generate a couple of other ideas. And then those can be put into the idea database. Sixth way of generating ideas, getting a small group of people. So perhaps the supervisor or leader of the department, maybe 2 other people, and showing them, okay, within your department, here's the top 2 quality issues by part number. Here's the two processes or part numbers that are the least efficient. And, maybe there's something cost related if it's a shipping or materials department. These are the things that have the most fluctuation in cost. And sort of with that small group, brainstorming some ideas, some ways to correct or mitigate or reduce the effect of those issues. You might not ever get rid of those issues, but it's an ongoing process, right? So you're always looking to reduce the impact, to mitigate and reduce. Seventh way, you could create either department competitions or picking small groups and having them compete against each other in a timed fashion. So say, okay, these are the teams, and you have the next 48 hours to generate the most ideas. And then the winning team, pizza lunch or subs or sandwiches, whatever you have access to, coffee, anything like that. So having a reward for the highest group that generates the most ideas. So that's just another way of generating ideas and creating some competition. So those were some of the different ways that I would go about generating ideas, and I have generated ideas in the past in those different ways, depending on which company I've worked in. So if I were to do this more like a systematic process, if you were to start tomorrow, what could you do? So the first thing, get a small group together in your organization, some key representatives, maybe a couple of leaders, maybe a couple of employees, and you're going to establish what is the target of ideas per person. So you're going to agree upon what is that. In a year, is it every employee has to generate 3 ideas each year? Whatever that is. So establishing with a group of people. And the reason why I say group and not just rolling it down saying this is the target is because when they buy in, they're more likely going to defend whatever that target is. If you just do it, you're going to be bashed probably and lots of slack against you. So use a group to develop that and come to a common agreement on what that is. So now that you have that target established, post the target. So wherever there's a main spot that you would have your metrics, your KPIs, your targets, your goals, post that sheet. It's going to show departments or groups, and then it's going to show, perhaps the year to date or the rolling month to date actuals and target. The next thing is establishing a cadence of a couple of things. So a cadence of department idea generation. So now you're going to go to your leaders and say, okay, once a month, I want you to get together with your department for 1 hour, and I want you to generate ideas. So that, and then creating a cadence and holding your leaders to that cadence. And if you don't hold them to the cadence, then 50% of them are probably not going to do it. The ones that are procrastinators, and the ones that aren't procrastinators, they're going to do it. So that's why you have to hold everybody to the cadence. You have to do follow-up. So now that you've got the cadence, the established monthly meeting of idea generation, you're going to establish a cadence of walking the shop floor. So you're going to go to each of your leaders and you're going to say, okay, once a month, I want you walking the shop floor, and I want you to ask whatever it is, 3 different people. What are their frustration points? What are their pain points in their day? And recording the ideas from that. So you've got your cadence for your brainstorming. You got your cadence for your walking the shop floor by your leaders. As well, create that CI box, that continuous improvement idea suggestion box, and have that available so that employees can report those things. And then the closed loop there is you're going to update that monthly target. So, okay, let's say this department, based on having so many employees and the target per employee, they should have hit 30 ideas. Let's say it's March now. They should have hit 10 per month, and they should have hit 30 by the end of the month. They're only at 25. So record that down. You could put maybe % on track. And then now you see competition. If you see some leader that's not doing anything, well, they're going to be at like 0, perhaps, and everybody else is far progressing past them. That might motivate them to get on track and catch up. That's why competition is very important. Comparison is very important. So that's sort of the closed loop system of how I would establish and run a idea generation system within an organization. Now that so the previous podcast, we talked about driving accountability down to the work cell. This podcast, we talked about generating ideas, which is the foundation of improvement, the improvement process, because improvement comes through ideas, which, when implemented, create improvement. And then in the next podcast, I'll be talking about how to turn some of those ideas into savings, and how to calculate that and how to find savings. So we're slowly developing a system and a process and doing it step by step. Most importantly, please subscribe, like this video, and I plan to continue to release these videos with the hope of helping operations, manufacturing, site leaders improve the performance within their facility.